sweetest feeling for Rotherham United.
Woods got round the back, and Richard Wood has done it again. It's done. It's Georgie Kelly.
Do me a favour, drop me off in Rotherham.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to New York Talk. It is fixture release day, where we can sort of look ahead for the season. Barring any sky changes, we can look ahead and plan our way back to the Championship. We also have the Carabao Cup draw to talk about, and if anybody cares about it, there's a virtual trophy to talk about. And we signed a keeper. We signed a second choice keeper, didn't we? And that's it. So we'll go through that. We'll go from there. Mick is back. How are we, Mick?
Yeah, I'm all good, mate. Are you?
Yeah, I'm all right. Thank you very much. Please, mate.
Nice to know.
Yeah. Danny's back. How you doing, Danny? How's your summer been, Danny?
It's been all right. I've been at work today. Found out we are playing Doncaster on my birthday, so I am loving life at the minute, lads.
Excellent. So good way to ruin your birthday. Good to know.
Yeah, but then I can go out for a few drinks after with my mates. So win some, you lose some.
True.
You've got mates.
Surprisingly, yeah.
And Tom's back. How's your summer been, Tom?
Yeah, it feels like months since I've been on. Yeah, it's been all right. It's been good. Can't quite say that. I think we're playing Blackpool away on my birthday, so it can't. Not as enthralling, but nice little weekend away.
Yeah, in the middle of at the end of December.
Yeah,
yeah, lovely. Just best time for Blackpool, isn't it?
Yeah, no beach holiday there. I guess.
And Kev's back. How are you doing, Kev?
Yeah, good, mate. Thank you. My birthday's in June, so there is no game.
Playoffs.
Wait, no. I've just checked, and it's actually Bradford away my wife's birthday, so that's going to be good.
Oops. Yeah. We'll go through that. We will go through the comments as well. For example, the Miller 6 even when the final count, finally the countdown begins. Richard says, "Evening all. Has the season started yet?" Stevie Mick is with us, as well as Kev Fobbs, Martin Horn, Shellstone, Darren Cook, Scott Kent says, "Evening all. The fans forum has been a shambles." If anybody's been to the fans forum, let us know. I haven't been because I went last year and I just got annoyed sitting and listening to Tony Stewart, but he wasn't there this year to annoy people. Maybe that's why they did it, because he was so annoying last year. They learned the lesson a little bit, but it all seems a bit. Anyway, we'll come on to that maybe in a bit. Let's start with the fixtures. It's kind of exciting this time of the year, Mick, because you you look ahead and you see what's out there, but at the same time you're just waiting for the disappointment to kick in.
Yeah, it's not the same as it in League One. You're looking for big teams and there aren't any. You're looking for big games, there aren't any. It's all a bit meh. I don't know whether that's just these last couple of seasons that have done that to me or my age, whether I'm just a miserable git anyway. But it doesn't hold a great deal of excitement for me in this league. It does when it's Championship. It does. It genuinely does. I'm keen to see who we're going to be playing and when. And I'm struggling, mate. I'm maybe not the right person to be on tonight,
or any other night,
or any other night for that matter.
Yeah. Fair enough. I've got the little graphic. I stole the graphic from the club's website, which is very small on our screens.
You need to cover my face though, so that's a good thing.
Yeah, well, not an accident.
Hey, move Danny down. So swap Danny with me.
Wow, okay. I see how it is. Okay. Just poke my head round the corner just here. Hello.
You never know where teams are going to be, Kev, but we said this before we started. Up until Stockport in middle of and end of September, the start's not bad. You've got all those teams that are going to be lower mid table. Cardiff, like you said before we started, great time to play them, third game in. Yeah. And Wigan are the other ones that are going for it a little bit. Other than that, that's a pretty kind first 7 or 8 fixtures.
It is, but like Mick just said, no one really screams out. Cardiff are on downward spiral. I really don't think Cardiff will be up there. I think they'll be around the playoffs. I can't see them pissing league like others generally do when they come down. So no one really stands out. Like Huddersfield are a big club, but they're not the team they used to be. Bolton Wanderers season failures, aren't they? They always finish 7th, 8th, or 9th. I think there might be a few surprises. I think I hate to say it, and people are going to shoot me for it, but I think Donny will have a good season. They've done well. They've bought some good players already. I think they'll be all right. They're on the upward spiral and still confident from last year. I think again, Port Vale, they're clearly going for it. The fact that they've signed Humphries and whoever else that Stoke, someone on Radio Sheffield saying Radio Stoke have announced that they are spending big this year. It's going to be a tough one, but like you said at the start, we couldn't have wished for a better start. We're playing Cardiff bang at the right time, beginning. Hopefully, they've not gelled properly. The players they're going to sign, and we've got some very, very winnable games. Stockport, like I said, probably is really, really hardest game in the first 2 months, but who knows what Stockport are going to be like this year? They've just blown it in the playoffs. I don't know. It's a funny one, but I agree with Mick. None of them excite me. I can't get excited about any of them.
No. A few kind of caveats to chuck in here. First of all, the Bradford on the 10th of January away. That's FA Cup third round weekend. So if us or Bradford make it to third round, that'll get moved probably to a midweek. There are a bunch of international breaks, but there's too many for me to go through for you right now. But some of these are also
third round. FA Cup
third round. So so not available.
That's my wife's birthday, so I'll tell her we can go out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you'll be safe because I'm sure Bradford will make it through. A few derbies in there. Danny, you mentioned the Donny one. There's Bradford, Barnsley, and Huddersfield as well. So there's a few games that are at least semi-interesting. And for me, none of those are massive derbies, but they're obviously big games and big crowds, certainly in New York Stadium. So that's something to look forward to at this stage.
Yeah, but like you said, the derbies don't really feel like big proper derbies, probably with the exception of Doncaster. But, I think there's a certain amount of intrepidation with that because, like Kev said, they are on the up at the minute. They're signing good players. They've still got the momentum from winning the league. So as much as I'm looking forward to going to the Keepmount on my birthday, and as some people now do work in Doncaster, so that's going to be very interesting, turning up to the pub that I work at in a Rotherham shirt surrounded by Doncaster fans. But as much as I'm looking forward to that, at the same time, I'm kind of not intimidated by it, but kind of look at it and just like, that's kind of like the wrong time to play Doncaster, because if they have a good start, they could be well up for the game and potentially beat us as well. And I think they'll be looking to beat us because we've beaten them the last 4 times we've played them in competitive football.
We hammered them the last season we played, didn't we?
It was 13-0 on aggregate over the season, 2-0 at home, 5-0 away, and then 6-0 in the cup. And we beat them 3-2 in the previous Papa John's group stage. The last time we were in League One before that, whilst only we were in League Two. So they might be looking for that one. But August is a weird one for me. That kind of like sets the tone of where we're going to be in the league because you've got Port Vale and Doncaster on the way up. You've got Cardiff on the way down. Stevenage and Burton and Wigan could go here, there, or everywhere. So that kind of like shows us where we are and potentially where we need to improve on in the following window. But like I said, there's no marquee games in that. There's no Sheffield United, Sheff Wednesdays in there. So it's just kind of, let's just attack the league and see what happens. But I've seen a few comments mention it as well. December looks a hard month. That could be a very, very tough month.
Yeah. Blackpool twice, Plymouth away.
Same with February as well, with the exception of Burton. That could be a tough month as well in February.
Yeah, it could. Yeah. It's one of those weird ones, Tom, because the big team that we're talking about that have kind of come down that weren't expected, you sometimes get a Sunderland or an Ipswich. Yeah. The team that came down that nobody was expecting is Luton. And nobody is getting excited about playing Luton Town. So they're the big team has been taken up by a team that nobody cares about playing against. That's maybe why we're all a bit underwhelmed with the season. Look, same with Birmingham last season a little bit as well.
Yeah, the stadium in the estate has kind of died down a bit, hasn't it, since they went into the Prem? So it's just they sold Carlton Morris today, didn't they? So it's one of those. I just don't. I think you mentioned it, Kev, that Cardiff are on a downward spiral. I think Luton are the exact same. And unfortunately, although, they've got supposedly a Premier League stadium, I don't think it quite backs the feeling of a Premier League stadium. So it's another one of those where you're not really excited to go. And it's not like it's not one of those days out that you thoroughly enjoy. So, yeah, I mean, I'm in the same camp as everyone else. I don't really... nice to see the dates, but as soon as you see them, it's sort of blasé for me. I'm over it already.
Cool. Good start to the shows. Nice positive vibes, everybody.
First ask, who was paid money for Carlton Morris? That's what I want to know.
I know.
Derby.
Derby?
Yeah, Derby paid for him.
Wow.
Derby and spending money, what could possibly go wrong? Yeah. Boxing Day, Mick, Bolton away. I prefer an away day on Boxing Day. I know some people prefer the home games, so they're good, but I prefer a little trip across the Pennines. We've had some good Boxing Day games. And Bolton's, it's only an hour or so away, whatever it is. I think that kind of fits the bill for me as a nice away day.
Yeah, it's a perfect Boxing Day game, that, for us, really. Like you said, it's not too far. Decent stadium as well.
We'll probably take a lot of fans to that one.
Yeah, absolutely. That's generally that one and the last game of the season, the two that I look for first.
Yeah.
And I was pleased with that. I'm pleased with Wickham away for the last game of the season as well.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie. Yeah. I think Stevie Mix put it in the comments there. You've got possible Gillingham vibes with that one. Assuming that we're anywhere near. I'm positive. I'm with Stevie Mick, mate. Definitely. Wickham promotion party. And can you imagine what a wonderful game of football that will be? What an atmosphere for League One that will be at Wickham.
Yeah.
Live on Sky.
Yeah.
Yeah. I suppose it
Live
would
on
be.
Sky from the industrial estate.
Yeah, exactly. Starting at home, though, Kev, that's a good thing. I wonder, and I expect that the club should be making a bit of a deal of the first game. It's the first game of the centenary year. Now, whether or not isn't the question, but it's an opportunity for the club to go big, put on some pre-game stuff, put some stuff on, and make an event of it, I think.
I think you should get in touch with the club and tell them, mate, because I'm pretty sure none of that's going to happen. Yeah, it's always good to start at home. It's guaranteed to be sunny. It's always sunny first game of the season. So be red hot New York Stadium. You'd like to think something will be done. They might put next few tables out in that empty storage room down at the corner of the ground. Put a few more shirts on, say, some flags. Who knows? But if they do go all out, it'd be nice to see. I'm actually away for the first two games, so I'm a bit gutted. But I'm back for the Cardiff games. So that's all right. Cardiff away. But yeah, nice. Should be a good start. It's a very, very, very winnable game. I mean, I do think Port Vale will be up there. They'll be challenging next season. But they've just come up from League Two. We should be not scared of playing Port Vale at home, especially the first game of the season. So, like I said, should be Port Vale will sell out their allocation, guaranteed.
Yeah, they'll bring a lot.
They've got 2-2 coming. You like to think fans will back it, and depending on what happens between now and the next few weeks regarding signings, it could potentially be a full house. And let's see what club do to celebrate a centenary.
Yeah, absolutely. So the good thing about the first game is also it's a 3 o'clock kickoff, not messing around like last year where it was a 5:30 at Exeter. So it's already confirmed at 3 o'clock. There will be game changes. So I think by the 3rd of July, the games up until the end of September will be moved for telly. And by the 31st of July, all the games up until January will be moved, will be confirmed as well. So that's a positive step that they did last year. While we're talking about Port Vale, Danny, let's just get into the transfer business this week. Callum Humphry has confirmed he's left the club and gone to Port Vale. Matt Hamshaw's saying it hasn't really got anything to do with money or finances or the offer that we put in place. We put to Callum Humphry. It was more of him looking for a new challenge. Do you buy that?
Yes and no. All I'll say is it's sod's law. We've got them first game of the season and we've just lost Cam Humphries to him. That's sod's law. I kind of see where Matt Hamshaw's trying to sell us with it, saying it's not a money thing. He just wanted a new challenge, which I get, because he sort of had a good first year and his last two have just been here, there and everywhere, but we've had so much manager upheaval. I don't think he's been able to settle properly, because his first year were great, last two kind of petered off, so I understand him wanting a new challenge. But with the financial side of it, I'd argue Port Vale are able to offer what we were offering as an improved offer if there was one to be made. So I don't think it was a case of those completely blowing us out the water. I think they offered what we offered, and then it was Cam's decision to go somewhere else. So I kind of believe it, but I kind of don't. Maybe they offered a tiny bit more than what we were willing to offer, like maybe an extra $1,000 a week or something. I don't think they've just gone, oh yeah, here's 15k a week. Not a chance. I think if we've offered 8, they may have offered 9, just for an example. So I get where Matt, I'm sure, is trying to sell us with it, but I don't entirely believe it. I still think Port Vale have done well with a bit of promotion money. I'd argue Humphries is probably their quote unquote marquee signing so far, with the level he's come from. So yeah, I buy it, but with a pinch of salt, if that makes sense.
Yeah, Port Vale are trying to do. They appointed Darren Moore a couple of years ago, Tom, and that was a surprise at the time because he'd obviously been at Wednesday and Huddersfield. That was a big coup for him. So at the time, it felt like they were going for it. Obviously, he ended up getting relegated, but they bounced straight back. They do feel like a club that are trying to do positive things, and Cam Humphries makes sense for them. You've just come up. You've got a guy who's got Championship experience, League One experience. His ceiling is very high. Now, we haven't seen it for a little bit, but his ceiling is very, very high. So it maybe makes the sense for them to push the boat out, whereas it made less sense for us to push the boat out, if that kind of makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, Humphries was ostracised from November through to January. So it's kind of, I reckon that takes a toll whether or not the same management is in charge. I think that takes a toll on you anyway, doesn't it? I think it's just, I mean, they probably did offer more money, if we're being honest. I don't think anyone did, and I only caught the first episode, but of that new Wrexham documentary. I didn't watch it, I just caught the first episode, and they speak a lot about if they want to maintain in the league, then they spend an X amount, and if they want to go up, then they spend 10 times that amount, and we're probably on the stage where we're spending 10 times less than some clubs in this, relative 10 times less, because we've got no current we're not in the current situation nor got the current ambition, I guess you'd call it, about getting out as of now, and we probably offered him what we thought he was worth to us, which look, I know that he's been a fan favourite in the past, but this last season he was pretty poor, and I probably wouldn't even start him next season. You'd probably look at getting 2 other centre halves in front of him, and he'd be a spare centre half, centre midfielder based on form, and you probably offered that as shown in his wages, and that's not to say that he wouldn't come good. He would. I just don't think we'd start the season off with him being a starter. So I can see him wanting to move away, prove himself. He had a bad time of it last season with management and fans kind of getting on his back, and probably he knows that he had some poor performances, so he wants to prove it to himself that he's actually a competent defender. And we have definitely lost an asset, but it's probably just on the basis of money, I reckon.
Fair enough. We have in the comments some cases, I think Cam had made his mind up months ago. He wanted out. Harry saying, if you want a new challenge, why did it take so long to announce he was leaving like hacks? A few people mentioned this, Mick, about the weight. I know you're a Cam Humphries fan. I didn't really mind the weight. Cam, we offered him a deal. He was looking around to see what's available, as every player out of contract should do. Yeah. He didn't turn us down, because if he might not have got a better deal, so he may well have accepted it. I don't have a problem with the wait, and I'd be amazed if it's hurt us waiting, because otherwise we wouldn't have waited, would we? Well,
I mean, we as a group here and the people in the comments don't know anything about it, do we? We just think it could have been holding us to ransom since May. In reality, the club, Matt Hampshire, will know exactly what's happening, or pretty much knowing exactly what's happening. I can't see that those conversations haven't been had, but they won't be made public. So And he's been away, I think, hasn't he? I think he's been away for quite a while. I understand.
Yeah.
So I'm sad to see him go because I think it potentially is a really, really, really good player. But if he wants a new challenge, and he will be, there will be more money involved. There's no doubt about it. There'll be more money, and good luck to him. You know, it's a shame, but it's football. It's football. So I love Cam Humphries, and I wish him all the best. And I hope he has a long and successful career. I'm not convinced that Port Vale is the right move, but hey, whatever. You know, I think he could do better personally. I don't know a great deal about Port Vale. I don't want to upset Port Vale, but he could certainly do better than them, and he could certainly do better than us for the same reason. But good luck to him. Shame, but good luck to him.
Yeah. Steve says Cam might be ineffective in the Championship, but he can get a centre back that is more effective in both box at League One level for probably less money.
Yeah.
And it's all about the value to what it was worth to us, Kev. And you've got we haven't got many centre backs here, but Zack Jules, when Zack Jules played, Zack Jules was better than Cam Humphries last year.
Absolutely.
So why would you go push the ball out for Cam Humphries when you've got, and they're pretty similar, other than Zack Jules being a left-footed player. They're very, very similar in terms of styles. So I completely get why we didn't push the boat out, but I also understand why we waited a little bit, because he would have been useful to have, but it's not the end of the world that he's gone, I don't think.
Yeah, exactly. And like Tom said, last season we were pretty ineffective. I do put that a lot down to the standard we were playing with and against. Because like I agree with Steve, I was just about to say, I do think Cam Humphries is definitely a better player. Championship football suits Cam Humphries better than League One football. Simple as that. Last year we played here, there, and everywhere. A different partner. Sometimes with Hack, sometimes with Jules. It changed all the time. He didn't know where we were playing or what day it were half the time. And like to coin a phrase from Ronnie Moore, one week looked like we were playing for Real Madrid, next dog and duck. He was just so hit and miss. But put that down to what you want. You can't. I blame Stephen for most things, but is that his fault? We have Humphries. I don't know. But I agree. I think Zack Jules is a better centre back, and someone put in comments apparently. Matt Samshaw at the fans forum said 2 centre backs are his priority. So clearly he's moving on, and it's a strange move for me. I just think, like you've all said, he were hanging on. He must have known 6 weeks ago he were leaving. Are you telling me Port Vale that's the best offer he got? It's a bit strange. I think he could have done better than that. I think he could have got someone like Wrexham or someone, I don't know, someone who just come from League One or better than Port Vale. And that's no disrespect to Port Vale. I put some on Twitter about that, about if we're losing place then. But I mean it in the greatest respect. We should be able to compete with teams like Port Vale when it comes to keeping players or signing players. It's just a strange move for me.
Yeah, it is. I thought he'd go somewhere like Preston and kind of be a backup a little bit to those. But we'll see where it goes. Zach Smith says, well, if Port Vale go down, he's bang on to leave them, never lead to equality. Probably. That's probably true. We have one confirmed signing, which is Ted Can, which is a 6'7". He's going to be a second choice keeper. He was released from West Brom, played 7 or 8 games for Forest Green in the National League last year. That's it. I don't have anything to add. Does anybody have anything to add on the giant goalkeeper we've signed?
Just from looking at when he went out on loan from West Brom, they sort of not kept him locked up, but they only really sent him out for back end of season loans from March and February onwards. So I kind of get why he's left West Brom, just to get into a first team and be in and around them consistently. I think due to his experience, like you say, Matt, he will be a second choice keeper. But with Cam Dawson being 30 by the time the season starts, it's actually quite a nice goalkeeper setup, because he'll be 30. Can will be 24, I think he is. So that's quite a nice balance of keepers. They're not a million miles away from each other, but they're not the same age, weirdly competing with each other either. So I think it's a smart move personally, and I just hope it doesn't go the same way as Jamal Blackman, because he was a really tall goalkeeper as well, and he just flapped at everything. But then we found Victor out of that, and Victor came from nowhere. To be fair, he was on Leicester's youth books, played a few games for Alfreton, and we signed him, and he's arguably one of our best goalkeepers we've ever had. So don't count your chickens yet, because we've had a few obscure ones that have turned into diamonds.
Yeah, we absolutely have. What it does basically confirm, unless there's something changes significantly, Tom, is that Cam Dawson will be number one going into the season. Harry says he had a few good games for his Dawson, but I'm not sure I trust him to be number one. I'd like to be proven wrong. I disagree with Harry. I'm absolutely fine with Cam Dawson. You look at what he did for Sheffield Wednesday in League One. He was a big part in getting them promoted. Even obviously was big in the shootout win for whoever they played as Peterborough in the semi-final. But he's going to be a better keeper, because we all know how well keepers develop at this stage in their career. And in the brief spell he played for Matt Amshaw, he was a different keeper than he was under Steve Evans. He was much more vocal and much more commanding, and it looks like to me that defence improved through him as well in those 8-game periods. So I have absolutely no qualms with Cam Dawson being number one.
Yeah, I mean, I think what that's referencing is the was it Tranmere when he kind of threw it in his own net? There was a couple of goals against Tranmere, and that was the only bad game I can truly remember him properly having. Because when he got those run of games towards the end of the season, he was great. And I mean, that Bolton performance was the best performance of any player at full stop last season. So yeah, I don't know what was, why he wasn't picked at the start, call it, dumb luck or whatever. But, he's clearly a competent keeper. His kicking's never going to be great, but he handles the ball well. He comes to crosses. His reflex saves are good. He makes some saves that, you think he's never going to save that, and he does. He makes some saves where you think, and he doesn't make saves that you think, well, it's fair enough. So he's not anything outstanding. We're used to the likes of outstanding in the goalkeeping department at Rotherham, but yeah, he's good enough for League One. He'll be one of the better performers and the more consistent goalkeepers in League One. I mean, his time with Wednesday and Exeter have shown that. So I've got no issues with him being number one.
Yeah, Nick agrees, says happy with Dawson being number one. Tom Case, I can't remember Dawson making any howlers last season, so it's fine. There was the Barnsley game where he could have done a lot better for the first goal, where he kind of pushed it back into the middle. But there was a lot of stuff around that goal that wasn't just his fault. Harry's mentions the Tranmere mistakes as well. Craig Miller defends. Dawson needs confidence and the fans to get behind him. I think, Mick, I might be wrong, and maybe proves me wrong. I think Dawson feels like a really easy guy to get behind because he's got that typical goalkeeper's personality where he seems really loud. He's passionate. He's obviously passionate, like a little bit like Victor was in terms of personality. I think unless he makes a mistake on day one, I think fans will, and as he becomes the number one at the football club, I think fans will take to him a little bit more, and I think they will get that confidence.
Yeah, I think he will. I mean, goalkeepers, confidence is a massive thing for goalkeepers anyway, isn't it? And then if the fans get on your back, that doesn't help. He didn't have a great season last season in the sense that he never really tied down a place. He was in and out the side, just like just about everybody else was. There was never a settled position for anybody, was it? Other than probably Joe Powell. Everybody got moved about, and him and Phillips kind of shared the load. I don't know whether that's the right term, to be honest, because Cam Dawson did most of the lifting.
To me, Mick, I'll be honest with you.
Yeah. Like I say, he did most of the heavy lifting, Cam, didn't he? But I think, I'm comfortable with him. I think he's a damn good goalkeeper. I don't think there's any doubt. But I can't remember who mentioned it. Somebody mentioned it in the comments. He does need he needs a run of games, as does any keeper. And you can't keep chopping and changing your keeper. You just can't. We were lucky in that season when we went up, when we had Victor and Vickers. We were so lucky that season. We could have played. We could have alternated their games, won it, and they would have still been top performers. So we were lucky. But last season, completely the opposite. Neither goalkeeper got a run. Neither keeper sort of gained any confidence, did they? But we know what he can do. We've seen what he can do. He set the bar very high, didn't he, Bolton?
You're right, absolutely did, yeah. And I think we're seeing a different football this season, Kev, than we saw when Evans tried to play. We know Evans is direct, and that's just Steve Evans. I get the feeling that I'm sure we were going much less direct. I still think there'll be aspects to it, But I think the Dawson will be asked to play a different game. It will ask to pass a little bit shorter, something from the goal kicks, as is the modern way. So his long kicking might be less of a problem in the way that I think that Hampshire will look to play going forward.
Yeah, I think so. And I think, but just back to Dawson quickly, I do think Steve Evans was to blame. Like, just going back to that first game against Exeter, he did. Steve Evans never knew who his number one goalie was, which is, for me, that's your fundamental error straight away. As a football manager, you've got to have a number one goalkeeper. You've got to have somebody, and he didn't. So that's why we're swapping and changing. And let's be right. Cameron Dawson must be sometimes looking at Dylan Phillips thinking, "How the hell is he playing in front of me?" Because it was garbage. Let's be right, it was shit. Yeah. So that must have affected Dawson. So yeah, I agree. And Matt Hampshire has changed it around. He'll not be as nowhere near. I mean, Steve Evans tried playing direct football with a hint of something else. I don't think he knew what we were doing. It was all a very big mix. But I think the one thing I will praise Tony Stewart for is making the change with Evans with 4 or 5 games left, which allowed Amy to see what he was working with and then give him a whole summer of training the guys. We've got the core 10 or 11 who are in contracts, new guys he brings in and getting his style across. And yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. I'm quite looking forward to seeing it. None of us really know. Hammy's always been a number 2, so none of us really know what biggest say he had with Paul Warren as his number 2. So I'm looking forward to it. I think it's exciting. I know everyone's a bit disheartened with who we've signed, but again, it's a different manager. Steve Evans, it spunked his load in June last year, and look where that got us. So I'm all for it being kept in house and no rumour mills and stuff like that. I think it's great and it's exciting.
Yeah, I completely agree. You can never win though, can you? If you go too early, you've gone too early. Why are you doing it? If you take your time, why are you taking your time signing them early? It is what it is. We'll see what happens. Does anybody want to have a minute talk about how appraise Dylan Phillips' agent?
I've said it in our group chat. I am still baffled how he's gone to Hull. Like, on the podcast last season, I nicknamed him the Flying Kipper because that's exactly what he did when trying to save goals. He just flew at it and flapped, and then bugger all happened. He must be second choice at Hull, surely.
Oh God, yeah.
Is there 2 Hulls? Is there 2 Hulls? Is there a Hull in Singapore or something like that? Are we getting mixed up?
Yeah, he's actually playing for Hull Tigers, which is the rugby team.
That sounds right.
But honestly, baffled. I do not know how he's pulled that off. His agent must be the sweetest talking bloke since Leonardo DiCaprio in The Wolf of Wall Street. Like, honestly, don't know how he's done it.
He might have Scott Carson's agent because he hadn't done bad for his goalkeeping agent.
True. Scott Carson might be his agent.
Yeah, it could be.
Tom K, if you said Phillips and Humphreys would leave, one to the Championship, one to League One, you'd never guessed which one went where.
Yeah.
Maybe they've got the same agent and he got it mixed up.
Yeah.
If you said Cam Humphreys to Hull, yeah, I can see that. Not a problem. Yeah, absolutely. If you said Phillips to Port Vale, yeah, no problem. I can see that. Not a problem at all.
I mean, we're saying this, but let's be honest. How many games he might play a couple of EFL games, and if there's an injury, but he'll probably be 3rd choice there.
Probably, yeah. I think you're probably right. And apparently he's pretty good. He was a pretty good guy. Under Victor was always positive about him. So as a 2nd or 3rd choice, he's probably good to have in the goalkeepers department. Yeah. He's still done very well to get that move. Sean H, what's the latest on KOD and McGuckin contract situation? Still no update. All we can say is watch out for the pre-season pictures, see if any of them pop up.
Are we bothered? Are we bothered by them too? Because neither of them going to be in squad. Probably a squad players. That's it, aren't they?
Yeah, and I think that's probably why they're taking so long. Because if they've got some offers where they can go play more first team lower down, certainly McGuckin, if I were him, I'd be looking at first team football somewhere else just to play games. JJ is maybe slightly different because of his injury situation.
Don't have a word with Dylan Phillips' agent. Blame someone.
Exactly. We have Ian Bradley in the comments earlier. Just like a fans forum, I just expect Matt said all the right things. I get a sense of unity building rather than unmitigated BS from last year. I haven't seen any.
That's immediate positive.
Good over Ian. Sitting on fence as usual. I love it, mate.
unusual that we haven't seen any updates. Last year there was kind of minute by minute updates, weren't there, from the fans form? This year there's been basically nothing. We'll see. I'm sure there'll be an update from Paul Davis something later on, which we can pick up on and see.
The thinking behind that is that last year there were minute by minute BS, weren't they?
Yeah.
You know, we're getting promoted, we're going to be up there, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to do other. You're not going to have the same personalities involved this year. Matt Hamshaw's not that kind of person. You know, Tony Stewart wasn't there, but he got his mate sat next to him last year. You know, so you were always going to get a lot more sound bites out of it than you were this year. But ultimately, I'm sure that the bottom line is that we've probably learned nothing like we learned nothing last year. You know my view on these things. I see why the club do them and I understand why they do them, but I think they're pointless.
Yes,
I think they've got to give. I think fans have got to give Hammy time. And that's not because I like him as a person. I just think, like someone put in comments, I don't think this is a one season rebuild. I think it's going to take 2 or 3 windows to get a squad good enough. I just hope that, you know, if we have a bad start, so what? We have a bad start. We probably won't go down. We probably won't go up. But just got to stick with it. Just give a manager time and patience. And he loves the club. He loves the fans. It is, you know, epitomise what we want. In his time, got to have time.
Yeah.
We have an update from Paul Davis already, by the way, chaps.
Oh,
go on.
He said plenty to report on from the RUFC fans forum, several stories to follow over the next few days, so keep an eye on Paul Davis's Twitter. And on recruitment, he said priorities are centre halves, plural, and in Matt Hamshaw's own words, absolute athlete wing backs. So that's a little window into how we're going to play next season, killing with pace out wide. Thank God, because last year we played with no wide pace whatsoever. So talk about turning it on its head, which I'm very happy about. Kind of similar to how Paul Warren played, but I have a feeling it's going to be a lot more fast-paced down the wings.
Yeah, I agree.
Yes, that's what we like. I think we'll see a mixture. I think we'll see the press and the aggression that we saw under Warren. I also think we'll see an evolution of that because I think Hamshaw's more of a coach. So he'll try and play a little bit more football, is my guess.
Yeah.
But we'll see. We'll kind of see what happens with it. We do have a signing to talk about that we haven't talked about since we last did episode, Tom, which is Kian Spence. He has signed on a free transfer from Barrow. Not going to pretend that I know much about him, but I've seen the highlights, and they are very, very good. I also saw a post from Ali Maxwell from the Not the Top 20 podcast, and his post just said Rathbone vibes. And that was enough for me to be happy about it because last year we missed a Rathbone type. Williams did it a little bit, but we never replaced any part of Rathbone's game in the last year. So if he can fill a little bit of that void, I think should be a useful signing.
Yeah, and I mean his strikes were Volks-esque. I mean he's an absolute. He's got a powerhouse behind him. So that free kick was something ridiculous. If anyone saw it, I mean again I agree. Something that. I didn't know much about him, but look, there's him and there's the weirdo guy at Fleetwood, and I think if you take into consideration their ages, where they are, you know, they've only, you know, we got Spence on a free. This weirdo has his 1 year left on his contract. Both 24, 25, both ready for League One level. If that's the sort of caliber that we're looking at, I think that's kind of a positive look on recruitment. You know, you can't ask for much more, especially from fans. We're constantly saying, you know, get the age down, get hungry players, this, that, and the other. Some of them are going to be gambles. I mean, there's no denying that Spence is going to be a gamble. Sure, he performed well in League Two, but League One is another step up. So, you know, that is a gamble in and of itself. But you know, you don't do those gambles don't pay off if you don't take them. So, him alongside some other players of that caliber who are young, hungry, you know, year left to being on a free, moving in towards League One to build a foundation squad to then improve them and coach them, get them better, get them used to the system, and go up from there. I can see no wrong with it really. If Spence is a grafter, that's exactly what we need. I think McWilliams does it quite well, if I'm being honest. When he played, he surprised me with how well he was as a grafter. But if this Spence has goals to his game, he scored like 10 goals in one season in League Two. Absurd for a centre mid. So yeah, if he can replicate that kind of goal scoring form, then you've got yourself an all action midfielder that, alongside Powell, who is statistically the most creative midfielder in the league, then you've got a balanced midfield there.
Yeah, you absolutely have. At that balance already, this is before we sign anybody else. You've got Liam Kelly, who can sit there all day long when he's fit and do a great job in there. You've got Joe Powell, who is obviously, like Tom just said, one of the best at what he does in the league in chance creation. You've got two guys there, Mick Williams, if he can stay fit, and Spence, who can fill that energy role. And that's before we sign anybody else. But that already has a pretty good balance in that midfield already.
Centre down that spine, yeah, absolutely. You get another centre back, a couple more centre backs in, and you're starting to really build a decent spine. And then you just get, if you want these pacey wide players, which is what we all love at Rotherham United, it's positive. It's all very, very positive. But you've got to get the right personnel, and it's not. He's obviously taking his time. Well, I hope he's taking his time. Yeah. I'm hoping there's some irons in some fires somewhere.
Yeah.
I'm sure there are. So yeah, but all very positive. It feels they feel like the signings that have been made so far feel like considered, well thought out signings, not just going at car boot sale and picking up a couple that you've heard of. You know what I mean? Which is basically what we did last year. Well, it is, isn't it? Oh, my mate says so and so's all right. We'll have him. Oh, everybody's heard of Johnson Clark Harris. We'll have him. That's basically how we went last year. So it seemed a little bit more method to it this year.
Mm-hmm.
But I love how every episode you put one of these out. You put one of these little bits of bait out. Every single episode. It's wonderful. It's wonderful to see, Mick.
I'll get over it. I'll get over it eventually.
It's great. Craig Miller saying, would you take Dan Gore back? What's our he's available?
Would you?
Some deal. We saw for like 2 minutes, Kev, but for the few minutes we saw, there was something there with Dan Gore, definitely.
Yeah, no, obviously all them rumours circulating that he didn't want to play or had an injured. Lad was generally injured. He's a young lad. Worst thing, if he did have a slight, however minor it were, he's a professional athlete. If he's injured, he's injured. Simple as that. No matter what it is, it's not going to make it worse. And I think we did see glimpses of what's to come. And if he can stay fit, and like we just said about the signings we've already made, and I think they epitomise the show us what style Hammy's going to play, the high press, high energy, young athletes, and Dan Gore certainly fits in that category. And if you add in the bit of flair and that he's got, he could be a great signing. I personally think he might go Championship. I think Manuel want to send him for a bit of Preston, Blackburn, someone like that. Someone he's probably not getting as much game time, but he'll get more experience and probably learn more. But I'd love to see him back. Yeah.
Can you imagine, I know this is wishful thinking, but just picture this. So the only other first team that Dan Gore's been a part of was Port Vale, where he played like one game, 45 minutes, and then they never saw him again. Imagine if we re-signed him, he starts against Port Vale, scores, and we win the game via Dan Gore scoring.
And then we don't
Very
see him
much
again for 6
wishful
months.
thinking, but it was wishful thinking, me getting Donny away on my birthday, and here we are.
Yeah, fair enough. Caleb Wilson says, do we want Wilkes back? The rumours on Wilkes have gone quiet around other clubs as well. I thought he'd have gone somewhere by now, Malik Wilkes.
Another one I'd love back. Love him.
Yeah.
Pacey winger.
Yeah.
The problem with Wilkes is he's going to play as he's not a wing back, is he? You wouldn't trust him.
Not disciplined, is he?
No.
He ain't going to be tracking back, lad.
No. So we'll wait and see what happens with that one. We are going to need a captain for the season. Probably because Clark Harris hasn't gone yet, but even if he stays, I don't think he'll be captain. And Hacks has obviously gone as well. Tom Kellyford says Powell as skipper. Can he interest you in Joe Powell, or do you have somebody else who stands out for you?
Liam Kelly, I think, kind of has to be. But if you're going to get someone who plays every game, Powell was the only one that sort of came out in interviews when we lost heavily. He was the only one that sort of did any sort of media stuff. It felt like every time, for the kit launch, he was the man the current team to be on the face of the kit. He's just
best looking. He's best looking. That's no to do with else.
Yeah, they do know what they're doing in the club, to be fair. But yeah, actually, it could be nothing to do with his leadership ability. But he just seems to be the face of the club at the minute, and it could be to do with his looks. It probably is. Mick will tell you that it is. But there are a couple that you would argue a leadership quality. Rafferty had it in abundance. Kelly did. Powell wasn't much of a talker, but played every single game. More or less every minute of every game, and was a key reason why we weren't even further down where we should have, even in worse trouble. So Powell's not a bad shout, but everyone, the overriding opinion seems to be split actually between Jules, James, and Rafferty.
No, Cam Dawson. Got to be Cam Dawson.
I don't mind that. I don't mind a keeper captain.
Yeah.
I do like Joe Rafferty, and I think he's captain material, Mick. My question to you is, where does Joe Rafferty fit in a 3-5-2?
Yeah.
Because, again, he is not a wing-back. He's never been a wing-back in a million years. He ain't got legs.
No.
And is he really a good enough right centre-back to play every week? So I don't know where I don't know. And I love Rafferty, one of my favourite players, because of his battling energy and everything else around him, the way he approaches the game. I just don't know where he fits in.
No, I agree. But it depends who we're going to get. If we don't get anyone to fill that berth, then, can he play as part of a back three? He has done. It's not ideal, but it's one to keep an eye on that. But as far as from a captain's point of view, I think you're right. I don't think he's going to see as much game time probably as he has done this season, simply because of the formation that Hamshaw's like to play, which I think we all suspect. I think Ian's mentioned in the comments that Hamshaw said at the forum his preferred formation is 3-5-2, and I think that's what we're all expecting. And does he fit? I don't think he does he?
No.
He's a spanner. You're going to have to spanner him in. Is basically the.
Bit harsh.
I don't mean he's a spanner. I mean you're going to have to spanner him in. He might be. I don't know.
I think with Rafferty, it all depends on the type of player we get for that right wing back role, and that will dictate where we see Rafferty. If that player's absolutely fantastic at covering and getting up and down the right hand side, then we can probably play a more out and out centre half in that right side of the three. But if that player is more tuned to running forward, potentially having Rafferty as the right centre back, because then he can move slightly wider, and then everyone can sort of come in on that left hand side if we need cover there. It all depends on that right winger, I think, as to where we play Rafferty.
Yeah, I agree. Scott Kent said probably give it Weirdo if Weirdo was Fleetwood's captain, so he could possibly just bring in a captain from somewhere else. I'm not a massive fan of that, although we did it last year with Clark Harris, didn't we? So. But that didn't work out very well. Kelly Forbes says, looks like Johnson Clark Harris won't be playing. And we've seen the advertiser article. Yeah, Kevin, it looks like Clark Harris is certainly in talks with the club. The Bristol Rovers rumour has been rumbling along for several weeks now. This would be a good bit of business for us to get him off the wage budget, because then you can move that allegedly a lot of money onto probably two other players, to be honest with you. Yeah. So I think this could be a really good bit of business to get him off the wage bill.
I think so, and it's no disrespect to Clark Harris, but he knows himself. We slayed some bit on here last season, fans did, but he's actually a really nice guy. He's a decent bloke, and he'll have been feeling even worse than we, because he knows how much he's earning. He knows he's on big wages. He knows we brought him back to do a job, and he failed constantly. So he'll have been beating us up every single week. That's probably the longer the season got on, the more pressure built upon himself, because he's that type of person, that type of player. So I think it's a good move for everybody all around. He needs some confidence back. I think Bristol Rovers in League Two would be an ideal, because he's worshipped down there. He would go straight back into their team, and he would get goals in League Two. I'm sure of it. I'm not sure he'll ever peak 20 and above again, but I think with penalties he might get close. But move him on. Like I said, I think he run about 10 grand a week or something daft. So get 2 or 3 in at 3 or 4 or 5 grand a week and cover that. And I was thinking similar with Hugo before towards the end of last season. You know my thoughts on him. I played him every single week last season. But I did see glimpses towards the last 2 or 3 games of the old Jordan Hugill, and he almost looked like he'd got a bit of fire in his eyes again. And I don't know, Ami's clearly giving him a bit of a hug and a cuddle and showing him a bit of love. And if he stays and Ami gets the best out of him, I could eat my words massively. We could be brilliant for it. It really could be brilliant for us. It'd be interesting to see whether Hammy tries to move him on to clear some more ways out, or gives him a lead role.
Yeah, there was a quote from today, weren't they, about trying to get the best out of somebody like Jordan Hugill. So it wasn't the quotes about Clark Harris are it says that we could try and get rid of him. That wasn't the case with the quote I saw from Hugill. So I think he will be around. He's got every ability you need to be a useful, at worst, a useful player. But he has got the ability to help this team going forward. So hopefully, we can see the.
I mean, probably is the type of character who would say to him, "Mate, stop trying to win free kicks. Get up, jump up. We use your arms, get involved." And you know, if someone can get that, if he can get fire back in his belly, we could see a good player.
Yeah, and always go back to Michael Smith when Michael Smith came in. I suspect Matt Hampshire was a big part of the improvement we saw in Michael Smith. I know he was much older, but can he do a similar job in terms of getting that improvement out of John Hugill? Because Hugo's been in the Premier League, he's done it, he's been there, done it. Yeah. It's there. We should get it out of him.
Well, and the thing is, Hugo's a better, with the greatest respect to Smudge, Hugo's a better player. Yeah. He is a better player. Certainly, it's a better base to start from. You know, with his experience and everything else. So, you know, if you could get even a quarter of the improvement you managed to get out of Smudge at Hugill, then he's going to be an absolute unit in this division. So we'll see. Yeah,
I completely agree. We had another one. Harry says, another one I found weird is Jack Holmes, who isn't the wing back, so doesn't fit in Hampshire's role. So unless he becomes a 10 or a striker, what's the point in keeping him on? I was on with Gab Sutton last night, Danny, and I had this conversation with Gab Sutton, asked about him, and then I think we all like Jack Holmes. I don't think I found a Rotherham fan that doesn't like Jack Holmes. The problem was when he was playing wing back last year, he was constantly looked confused about what he was meant to do, because wing back's a difficult role because you've got to be an attacker and a defender, everything at the same time. And he looked confused all the time. So I don't know where Jack Holmes is going to fit in going forward to this team. I don't know whether it's going to have to be a loan out or something like that. I'm desperate for it to work, but I just can't. I don't understand Jack Holmes in a 3-5-2.
Yeah, no, I get where you're coming from. Only downside is that if we loan him out, he's got that extended year on his deal, so then that doesn't really do anybody any favours. We might try and convert him in as a 10 or as an attacking midfielder behind the two strikers, which we did see him play from time to time last season. I think whilst Dan Gore was out injured, he sort of slotted in there from time to time, and he did okay. It sort of suits him better than the wing-back role, so we could see that. Or he has a stellar pre-season and he fills in on the left-hand wing-back role and he sort of learns the trade a bit more. But yeah, I'm with you, Matt. I'm desperate for it to work because it's almost fairy tale what's happened to him. But at the same time, I don't want us to just shoehorn him in. We need to find something that works for both him and us. Like Mick says with Rafferty, it's a potential spanner as to we don't quite know where to deploy him. But I mean, Kelly Bob's just hit the nail on the head here. He hasn't been coached the last year, so we might see a completely different Holmes this season, which is fully justified. I think we'll test the water over pre-season with him, maybe play him as the 10 out on the wing, as a wing back, whatever, and find where we can use him best. We might use him as a converted striker, you know, sort of play offset strikers where you have your more centre forward and your second striker, and that could be Jack Holmes whenever we're not playing Nombe, for example. But I think with Holmes, we'll wait and see. If we can make it work, fantastic. If not, then a loan out for more football, and hopefully we just don't see the back of him too quickly.
Yeah, he'll be one that benefits from the squad being so small in pre-season, because he'll probably get a load of pre-season minutes, which will then give him a chance to kind of put himself in the shop window, well, not shop window, but the window for Hampshire to see him in game time. Finish on Salford in the Carabao Cup, the first competitive game where fans are allowed in. We did play in COVID in the Carabao Cup. We lost on penalties on that one. Anything to add on that one, anybody? Again, it's pretty not much.
It's Salford. It's about
I
as
didn't even know
interesting as boot
I didn't
polish.
know we'd done a draw. I didn't even know we'd draw.
Yeah.
Is that what we got? Salford? Is it Salford?
Salford away, yeah.
Away.
Away,
No,
yeah.
No
I'll be
interest
definitely
in
going
that.
to that. Away.
I know we've got Man City. We've got Man City juniors, haven't we? And other one.
Yeah, Man City, Oldham and Bolton in that one.
Yeah.
That's very Lancashire heavy, isn't it? Normally get at least one Yorkshire team.
It is unusual. Like we normally, with how many Yorkshire teams there is available to pick from, I thought it was really weird we ain't got any Yorkshire teams in there. But it doesn't matter, does it?
No.
With that one.
No.
But yeah, we'll see what happens with that one. No, that's all I've got. Anything else we want to mention tonight?
Legends night tomorrow.
Legends night tomorrow. Did I see a post out saying that you got Pringle coming as well, Kev?
Yeah, he's coming. He's back from Dubai. Message early saying he's back. Can he come? I'm like, think about it. No, he's coming. Yeah. Yeah, should be good. Look forward to it. We've got a few new games to try out as well. So should be good. Should be good. Do hopefully.
It sounds like a stacked Legends night. To be fair, it sounds ace.
Yeah,
absolutely does. Looking forward to it. We're going to try. We'll say this now. We're going to try and get it filmed and put out. Me and Mick have been put in charge of technical stuff, and that's a terrible idea. But we are working on it. We're going
to try and stream it, but don't cancel your plans for Friday night.
We're on it. We're working on it. If we can't do it this time, we'll certainly try and do it. We'll do it. We'll do it for next time. But we're working on it. I promise. Nick, something you want to mention?
No, absolutely not.
When I said there's anything else to mention, you said.
Did I?
Yeah, you did. Thank you.
Well, if there was, I forgot.
Okay, fair enough.
Cricket game. People commenting cricket game next Wednesday. That'll be good.
Yes, that's back on next on the 2nd. Yeah. So that's good news. Get down to Wickersley. I know they tend to raise a lot of money.
I'm so happy that's back for this year, by the way, because a certain person didn't want to do it last year, but because they're not here anymore, it's been brought back, and it's a potential extra 20k minimum for the hospice just from a game of cricket. So if you're available, get up to Wickersley Cricket Club and go and support the hospice and the lads, and the cricket club as well.
Absolutely.
And if anyone's going to if there's any other idiots in world who's going to Albufeira to watch Reverend Bromley, get in touch with me because I'll be there. That's last time I drink on a Thursday night, I'll tell you now.
Kev's bought an old van for 200 quid in the drive-in there.
Brilliant. Yeah, it'd be good to see some fans over there and get in touch with Kev. It should be good. It should be really good, that, to be fair. I'm glad to allow fans to go over. It's really, really good.
I might even go to the game.
Right. We will knock it on the head. We will be back probably next week. There's no point doing an episode on this Sunday because there's not enough will happen between now and Sunday. But from pre-season onwards, we'll go back to being weekly. Normally on a Sunday, but there will be a few events that crop up which stop us doing every single Sunday. So we'll do like a Monday after or whatever when we can't do a Sunday. So keep an eye on the socials. Thank you. We should also add to Only Millers for doing the new logo, which looks fantastic on the Twitter logo. It looks brilliant. So thank you very, very much. Thanks to the RUFC who has done the intro and outro. And thank you to LPMC who has continued to allow us to do to use his music for the intro and outro as well. Make sure you've subscribed if you haven't done so already. We do appreciate everyone that's joined us. Also, the Football Content Awards are back open for voting. Ooh. So if you want to vote for us, so we can go and get some free drinks at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium or wherever it were last time.
Yeah. I mean, you said free drinks. It costs us an absolute fortune.
Yeah,
just somebody saying.
Yeah, maybe free wasn't the right word.
Food were nice, though.
Free's not the right word, is it?
Hey, but also, we did find a decent car park. We did find a decent car park for Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
Yeah. So if we get Tottenham somehow in the FA Cup, message Mick and he'll tell you where to park.
A bit tight. I'm just saying we're a bit tight getting in and out.
Yeah, well, it was.
Car park, I mean.
Anyway, I've put the link in the comment in the show notes, and I've also added it to the chat as well. So if you want to nominate us for best club content creator Football League and the best podcast in the Football League, we would appreciate that.
Better
also
up
make
before
sure...
King Bush gets his live.
Oh, we lasted an hour. Oh, we were so close.
Anyway, subscribe, like, follow us. We appreciate you being with us again tonight. We will see everybody next time. And as always, up the Millers.
Up the Millers. Up the Millers.
Comes for more. 2 for Jepson, 2 for Rotherham. Shoots. Vale. Vicious, but brilliant. The sweetest feeling for Rotherham United.
Wood's got round the back, and Richard Wood has done it again. It's done. It's Georgie Kelly.
Do me a favor, drop me off in